Commenters with the wonderful surname of Juarez wanted to comment that black children are gunned down in the streets while white people can march around with AR-15s. Believe it or not, you probably never heard of the Huey Newton Gun Club, but believe it or not, black people can march around with AR-15s too in the United States, because all people in the United States have something called a Second Amendment right, the right to keep and bear arms, which varies slightly from state to state, but in most states you can march around with weapons. It's because it's the Second Amendment right, and also the First Amendment, freedom of expression. So when white people when white people hold a peaceful gathering with AR-15s, that's called a political statement. When black criminals murder each other on the streets, that's called a crime. And that's why they get gunned down on the streets by police. It's not because police are hunting black people. And you can figure this out pretty easily if you're not a complete moron. Because who kills most black people in the United States? The police? White people? Chinese people? Eskimos? Koreans? No. Other black people kill black people, mostly in the United States. That's what the statistics show. So I'm going to leave a link in the description to my favorite YouTube video of Bill Clinton, where he actually confronts Black Lives Matter for their absolute idiocy about the wonderful bipartisan laws that he passed to put criminals where they belong, behind bars where they need to be, to protect, guess who? Black people from black criminals. Okay, and I also want to make this clear. You don't believe me that white nationalists, so-called white nationalists, it really could just mean any kind of conservative white person in the United States, has been deemed #1 on Trump's list by the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice. I'm leaving links to that too. Donald Trump considers white nationalism, so-called white nationalism, to be the #1 threat to this republic, despite the obvious larger threat of black violence, despite the obvious larger threat of black criminal gangs, despite the obvious larger threat of Hispanic criminal gangs, despite the obvious larger threat of black supremacist groups. That's the frickin' thing. There aren't many white nationalists in the United States. There just aren't. And that's the truth. However, for whatever reason, you start getting into the shades of brown and black, and you start seeing a lot of nationalism, a lot of anti-white hatred. And that's the truth. Follow the links.